And good day, Algebra. We are moving onward and forward with CO30, which is writing, graphing an inequality statement. We've spent so much time talking about equations. There is another type of comparison statement, and that would be the inequality symbols that you know and love. The alligator eats the larger number, all that sort of stuff, points the smaller one, whatever you use. But the difference between an equation and an inequality, okay? Obviously, the equation has the equal sign. An equation compares two values that are equivalent. Okay? An equation compares two values that are equivalent. Inequality kind of just does the exact opposite. An inequality compares two values that are not equivalent. Okay? That are not. So if they're not equivalent, what can they be? Okay, if they're not equal, what can they be? Well, the first symbol we're going to talk about is that one. And what is that? The less than symbol. Okay, we're going to put that under phrases. Right? It is the less than symbol. What other words or phrases would mean the less than symbol? Maybe look at your page. Any words stand out that you might think, oh, that one's going to be less than? Yeah, Chase?
Least.
Least is not the less than symbol. We'll use that up here, but not for less than. Kristen? Fewer than? Okay. I'll also use the word below. Right? If it's below something, it is less than that value. The next one, we're going to skip graph for right now, we'll come back to it shortly, is that symbol, which means the more than or also greater than, is how it's typically called. But more than could be another word to use, or another phrase. And we'll put the opposite of the below, which is above, for that one. Okay? Now, when you first started learning about inequalities, probably back in second or third grade, those are probably the only two that you learned. Okay? Probably fourth or fifth grade, maybe last year, you learned about two others. What are they?
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to. Okay? It's the less than symbol with half an equal sign. Right? Less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. Okay? What other phrases would go along with that one? Yeah. Colin.
At most.
At most. Okay? At most. If your parents put any sort of screen time limits on you at home, you can spend at most an hour in front of the screen. Can you spend exactly an hour? Yes. Right? That phrase at most means you have an hour or less. Okay? The most you can bring to Valley Fair is $20. Can you bring exactly 20? Yes. Different than if I said you could bring below 20, right? If I said you have to bring below 20, can you bring 20? No. But that phrase at most, that includes that $20 kind of reference point there. Nick?
No more.
No more than. Good. No more than would be another phrase that would mean less than or equal to. Okay? The last one then is kind of the partner to this. Greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to. And Chase, I'm going to come back to you for this one. What word or phrase would mean greater than or equal to? At least. The game will take at least 3 hours. That means it could take 3 hours or longer. you should be reading at least 20 minutes a night for Reader's Workshop, right? 20 minutes or longer, okay? And what other phrase would fit for this one, Maddie? No less than. Okay, I'm gonna add a fourth one to each of these because it does come up often. Tell me about minimum and maximum. Which of those two symbols there would minimum fall under? Do a minimum of something, yeah. Greater than or equal to. It's kind of confusing because you think minimum is like, Sam, you think minimum to be small, right? But it actually means greater than or equal to. That's the least, the smallest it can be, okay? Maximum, you think that means big, right? But the maximum is the biggest that something can be, the greatest something can be, okay? So it's that amount or less. That's why it's a less than or equal to. The thing about inequalities that makes them different from equations when you solve for a variable is you have to graph it, right? And so have you graphed inequalities before? No? So let's save. Does anyone else need the note here? Ryan? Nathan? Okay. So let's scroll down. We'll come back to graph and I'll leave it here so we can still see it here. Let's talk about the first one. Burning at least 400 calories. Okay. Which symbol does this at least refer to? Yeah. Greater than or equal to, right? The number of calories you want to burn is greater than or equal to 400. Okay? The number of calories you want to burn is greater than or equal to 400. That's an inequality statement. When we say graph this, how many variables do we have? One. So how many axes do we need to graph it? Just one. Right? The reason why we have the x and the y-axis when we graph in slope intercept form is because we have two variables, right? Y equals mx plus b. So we only need one axis, and that's going to be the x-axis. Okay?
Wait, why is it X?
What's that?
Oh, yeah, why is it X?
Why is it x? Because x is the one-dimensional axis. It's just the number line. Okay? The second dimension, when you add height to something, that's the y-axis there. When you get to Algebra 2 and you start graphing in three-dimensional form, you'll have a z-axis, which kind of goes straight through the coordinate plane. You know, it will like come out at you from the whiteboard. But when you have one variable to graph, use the x-axis because that's the one-dimensional form. So anyway, on this number line, I heard some people say, oh, we've done this before, so tell me what I should do next. If I want to graph the number of calories I want to burn, yeah.
In the middle, you kind of draw a circle or a line, and then you draw a circle, but it isn't shaded.
Okay, so we'll get to the circle thing in just a little bit. What number am I marking here on this number line? Paisley. 400, right? That's kind of my reference number here. That's the number that's listed in the inequality statement, so that's the number I'm going to put on my number line, okay? Now, in an equation, if this was an equal sign, I'd be done here, right? We wouldn't have to graph it because that would say I want to burn exactly 400 calories. But being an inequality, I'm saying I want to burn at least 400 calories. So which side of 400 is also acceptable for my goal here? The right side or the left side? Yeah. The right side. Why?
Because it's at least like 400 is the least you can burn.
Okay, and the right side of 400 are all the values that are greater than 400, right? 401, 402, 403, etc., etc. Did I put a limit on how many calories I want to burn? Like the most I want to burn? No. I just said at least 400. So Paisley said we're going to draw a circle, right? And what I want you to do is point that circle in the direction it needs to be. Where are all of our solutions? Okay, the thing with an inequality is that you're going to have an infinite number of solutions. I could burn 400 and satisfy this. I could burn 400.1 and satisfy this. I could burn 400.2, 6, 3 and satisfy this, right? Anything greater than 400 is going to work. Does 400 also work though? Yes. 400 is greater than or equal to itself. So how do I show that 400 is also acceptable? It was said that I don't want to shade this circle, but actually I do want to shade the circle, right? That's what shows that 400 is also acceptable. Nathan.
So, in some parts of the world, like, they read from right to left instead of left to right. So would there, like greater than, would it be going left?
Not a clue. If you visit those parts of the world, you shoot me an email, let me know, okay? All right? So going back to the graph of this, when you have a greater than or equal to symbol, it's going to be a closed circle pointing right. Okay? When you have a greater than or equal to symbol, it's a closed circle pointing right. So you can safe to assume that for the less than or equal to symbol, it's a closed circle pointing left.
And then the other ones are open.
And the other two would be open. Because just less than or just greater than, it's not including the original value. If I said I want to burn more than 400 calories, 400 is not more than 400. So it would have to be an open circle. I wouldn't want to start at 401 because 400.5 is still more than 400, right? So I still want to start at 400. It would be open circle rather than closed. Now it does say to write 2 inequality statements. We didn't. We wrote 1 inequality statement and the graph. There's a second way to write that I want to burn at least 400 calories. And it's not, I mean, you need to know it exists. Caitlin?
Would it be like 400 the less than or equal to C?
Very, very good. Yeah. The other way to write this is 400 is less than or equal to C. Notice that my inequality symbol flipped because my variable is now on the right side. My graph still holds true though, right? Because if I want 400 to be less than or equal to C, if C is over here, is 400 less than or equal to that?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Any number in this area here is going to be less than, 400 will be less than or equal to any number in that shaded region or that identifiable region there. Okay? Why this is more confusing is because we have a greater than or equal to graph with a less than or equal to symbol. So my advice to you, when you're solving for variables, work it so your variable is on the left side. Okay? Because then the inequality symbol translates to the graph very easily. When your variable's on the right side, you got to think about it a little bit harder. Okay? So that's my advice to you. Yeah?
Can you just flip it?
You can. Yep. If you get a variable on the right side, you can just flip it. Just don't forget to flip your sign. Okay? If you change the side of the inequality that your variable is on, your inequality symbol has to flip as well. The most you can spend at the store is $20. The most you can spend is $20. That key word there is most. What symbol did we say was most? Less than or equal to. Okay? So the money you can spend is less than or equal to 20. What's the second way you could write this? Nick?
20 less than more than equal to money.
20 is greater than or equal to m. Okay? Because whatever you spend, if it's the most it can be is 20, so let's pick a sample answer, 17, right? 17, that fits this. 17 is less than or equal to 20. 20 is greater than or equal to 17, right? So both inequalities work. This one makes more sense in our heads. So let's use that one to graph it. What is the graph going to look like? I'm going to make a number line. what is my reference number going to be here?
20.
20. I want the values less than or equal to 20. So what kind of circle?
Shaded.
Shaded circle, closed circle. And which direction are the values less than or equal to 20?
Backwards.
To the left. Okay? Questions so far? All right. You must be 18 or older to vote. Needing fewer than 8 strokes to win the tournament. Weighing less than 210 pounds. You can bring no more than $40 to the fair. Look at those words. Not all of them are up at the top, right? But think about what that means. Okay, we didn't talk about age, older, younger, whatever. But if it's 18 or older, Ryan, what symbol is that going to be used for there? Or what symbol will we use for that one? Well, if it's 18 or older, you're what? 12? 13?
No.
You can't vote yet, right? You're not 18 or older. So we'll want to use the greater than or equal to symbol there. Okay? Second page. The temperature tomorrow will be colder than -3 degrees. The temperature a week from now will be warmer than -12 degrees. School's closed if the temperature is -25 degrees or colder. Your parents will only let you go outside if the temperature is -10 degrees or warmer. So temperature is a big thing of when less than, greater than, that type of stuff is used here. Okay? So practice that. Same directions as the first page, right? 2 inequality statements and then graph it. And then I've got some graphs given for you. You are to write 2 inequality statements represented by the graph. Pay attention to which direction it's pointing. Pay attention to open circle, closed circle, okay, because that affects which symbol you use. Yes?
For the temperature thing, since it says it will be colder than -3 degrees, technically it would be like less than. So would you write it as less than?
Right. So on the number line, what temperatures are colder than -3?
Like -4.
-4, -5, so be going left on your number line. Yeah, less than. And then review, are the lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? And then write the equation of a line parallel to y equals 4/3 x plus 1 and passes through 12, 4. So from PO28 and PO29 for your review today. Yes?
How would you write
Like for weighing less than 210 pounds. So weighing less than 210 pounds, your weight is below 210. Right? Just less than 210. On the number line, and then of course the other way to write this, we would flip it. 210 is greater than your weight. You know, if you weigh less than 210 pounds, 210 is greater than what you weigh. This is what we're going to graph here, though. So on the number line, 210 is our reference number. Why wouldn't we start at 209? If we weigh less than 210, why wouldn't we start at 209? Yeah.
Because they need to know that we were less.
Okay. Also, what about like 209.5? Is that a solution to weighing less than 210?
Yes.
Yes. If we start at 209, 209.5 would be to the right, right? But our graph is going to the left. Okay? So to show that it's not actually 210, this is where the open circle comes into play. Less than 210 still includes 209.5. It includes everything less than 210, but not 210 itself, because we want to weigh less than that. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, Cole?
Did they show the ones who won the Super Bowl?
Not right now. Mathematical questions only.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
Is there more like rational numbers or irrational numbers?
So technically, there are the same number of both because you can write rational numbers and irrational numbers forever. If you look at the different layers of infinity, however, then you can make an argument that there are more rational than irrational. Yes, it turns out there are different levels of infinity. You'll learn that in Algebra 2 or beyond. Okay,
What's beyond?
beyond would be after Algebra 2.
Oh, I thought you meant like algebra.
Calculus, multivariable equations, and that. Colin!
For the right two inequality statements represented by the graph on the second page.
Yeah.
What variable do we use?
Up to you. You can pick.
Can you like
All right, homework for tomorrow, the rest of CO30, that's my math.
a